On today's political figure episode, I just want to give a shout out to every damn Democrat in the Texas State House. The pedophile Pol Pot up there is doing his absolute best to be a dictator, and he's doing a sadly decent job at that. But our whole government is set up to just not do king shit. That's the whole point. We don't have tea time and crumpets anymore. Like the last time a tyrant put tariffs on us, we just went all Viva la Revolution, motherfucker, and said we're not doing king stuff anymore. That was the whole point. I mean, it was really more about westward expansion and the king not allowing us to violate the treaties we made with the natives, but if we're gonna believe our own origin story, it was tyrants and tariffs. And now we don't have kings as a result, and we designed a whole system of government to make sure that we couldn't get kings. And that mostly has to do with the separation of power, ensuring that no one person or group of people get enough power to become an authoritarian. So if Neckgiant Nero really wants to be king, he needs a bunch of complicit cunts to help him out. And he's been doing a good job at getting them. He's made the Supreme Court a sham, and he's managed to get his branch Dumbvidians to take over the group of pedophiles, or GOP, which is the party currently in power. But even with all the blatant partisan gerrymandering that all of these Republican states have done, his grasp on Congress is fragile, and his horrible policy that's ruining everyone's lives means he's very likely to lose it in the midterm. So he just came out and blatantly asked Racism on Wheels down there, who runs Texas, to redraw all of the maps to give him more seats in Congress in 2026. The tyrant on tires is happy to oblige, and this is insane. So here's the thing, is we get a census every 10 years, and at that time, states are allowed to redraw their congressional districts with the new data. Now, states like Texas, Wisconsin, Ohio, Florida, they abuse this procedure just blatantly every decade. Because Republicans who control those states use that procedure to redraw those districts as least representative as possible to give themselves the biggest possible edge and win as many seats as they can, which is horrible. It should be illegal. The fact that it's not is insane. At least it can only happen once every 10 years. This is not a census year. States are not supposed to be redistricting until like 2030. So that means for this midterm and the next presidential election, congressional maps should stay exactly as they are, but rules don't matter anymore, apparently, and Greg Abbott's down there just like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just go redistrict this already heavily gerrymandered state to just make it so Democrats can't win anything. Because, you know, if we don't cheat, we're going to lose because we suck. And so they pull this whole sham committee thing where they're like, oh, the maps that we did the last time weren't impartial and we need to redraw them. And like, yeah, no shit, they weren't impartial. You admitted that. It's not like you've been hiding this. And with that, they're trying to use that to ram through legislation that'll allow them to redraw these maps right now. Unfortunately, largely because of this gerrymandering, Texas Republicans get to do whatever the fuck they want because there aren't enough Democrats to stop them. Now, if this does get passed, it'll certainly go to the courts. And what happens there, who knows? It seems pretty illegal to me, but I'm no legal scholar and courts don't seem to care about the Constitution anymore. So in an attempt to block this from happening, Texas Democrats used what little power they have, and they took a cue from Minnesota Democrats, who earlier this year broke quorum to stop Republicans from committing a coup. However, they are going above and beyond because they all left the state. Texas Constitution requires that there's at least 100 members present for a vote. Republicans only have 88 members. Democrats not showing up means that they can't vote. That's denying them quorum, and business is stalled. This is the type of shit we have been begging Democrats to do. Play hardball. No more nicely written letters. Use every lever of power you have available to you to fuck shit up. Now, Texas has been trashed for a long time, but I will tell you what, their crop of left-leaning politicians have been on point lately. Now, Abbott's little wheelchair is doing a burnout with the fit that he's having about them doing this. He's threatening to arrest them, saying that they are forfeiting their seats, saying he's going to charge them with felonies, just all kinds of ridiculous shit. And as Texas Rep. Jolanda Jones pointed out, he's full of shit. He can't do any of that. Also, she's running for Congress in Texas's 18th district. If it, still exists after all of this, you should check her out. She seems legit. She came out and she's like, bitch, try it. What you gonna do? You can't arrest us. We aren't even in the fucking state. You've got no authority here. And even if we were in the state, we're not breaking any laws. This power is guaranteed to us in the Texas Constitution. They are operating by rules that exist in the foundational document of the state. James Talarico, another amazing Texas state rep, is like, this is like if we were playing a football game and one team unilaterally decides at halftime that they're just going to change the rules more in their favor. If you're going to do that, we just aren't going to fucking play the game. A lot of people are criticizing this as, oh, it's just a waste of time. It doesn't actually change anything. They have to go back eventually and then they'll have to vote on it and the same thing will happen. Other people are criticizing that this is just the Texas Democrats not doing their job, and both of those people are wrong. Because this is Texas Democrats doing their job and absolutely gives them power to change this and help protect the representation of the voters of Texas. See, them denying quorum doesn't just mean that this redistricting bill can't get voted on. It means that no legislation gets voted on. Business is at a full stop. So if Texas Republicans want their state government to do literally anything at this point, they need the Democrats to come back and give them quorum. And Democrats can say that until this whole bill is thrown out or the midterms come to pass, we're not doing that. And as long as they stick to their guns, this can work. It worked in Minnesota. Now, granted, that was slightly different. Republicans in Minnesota did some super creepy, stalkerish shit to bully and invalidate one seat that was a safe Democrat seat in the last election. And this gave Republicans a 1-seat advantage until a special election was held and that seat could be filled. And with having a 1-seat advantage for a few weeks, instead of doing the power sharing agreement they'd already agreed to, they were trying to give themselves majority power for the rest of the session. So Minnesota Democrats were like, fuck yeah, we're going to the cabin and we're going to deny a quorum. Republicans threw their temper tantrums, made a fool of themselves playing house, passing all kinds of legislation they didn't actually have the authority to pass because there was no quorum. That all immediately got thrown out in court. And then because their constituents were getting pissed that they weren't doing their job, they finally came around and did what they should have done from the start and stopped playing stupid games and honored the power sharing agreement so they could get back to work. Now, Texas Democrats do have less power than Minnesota Democrats did even at that time. So they have a tad less bargaining ability, but this is what they're doing. This is what they should be doing. This is what solid governing and representing your constituents looks like. This is why this episode is dedicated to every one of the Texas Democrats denying Republicans quorum to stand up for democracy. So props to them, as Texas shows us the absolute worst the government has to offer. They show us the absolute best the governing could be, because this is the type of representation that we should all want to see out of our representatives. And this is the kind of fight the Democratic Party has been painfully lacking. So once again, props to Texas Democrats for standing up for democracy for the entire country, because this is the type of action it takes to fight fascism.